Hey guys, what's up? It's all things MTG here today. I'm back with another deck tech. Today we're gonna be taking a look at mono green ramp. At first, when I was building this deck, I wasn't actually gonna make this a budget deck, but as when I finished this deck, it was actually pretty low budget. So you can get this deck for around $30 to $40. Um, with just around 30 to $40 because the most expensive card I'd say is like 250, I'd say, which is surprisingly Cryptolith right, and the rest are pretty cheap comparing to what we're doing. And the lands, it's just of basic forests, and so let's take a look at this. I'm gonna start off with, of course, the ramp cards. So I've got this really isn't actually a ramp card, but this is really good because it pretty much if you you can keep a one land hand with this, and you can guarantee a land drop on turn two, pretty much. So you can forest, play this, grab a forest, turn two, play that forest, play like a ramp card I'm gonna come into, and then you can start going up from there on. So which is really good because of how fast you're building that mana. So I'm gonna go to Beast Caller Servant. Um, two mana, one and green for a haste. With add one mana of any color to your mana pool, but only spend this to cast creatures, which is what we want. It's only going to be making green mana for us because we're playing mono green. Um, and the fact that it has haste is also really good. And then we've got Druid of the Crow. Now that there's no Elvish Mystic, this is gonna have to do. And in testing, this is actually really good. You can say once again, you can turn one this, turn two land, this, and then turn three, this, and then land, which is really good. Cryptolith right once again. Creatures you control can tap for mana pretty much. And there's two copies of Nissa's Renewal. You rarely get to this, but that 7 life in the late game is actually really important, just in case you're playing against a fast deck that's beating you down, and you're at that six land point where you can just ramp for 3, gain that 7 life, which is really, once again, really big. And there's 4 copies of Natural Connection. Great card. Well, really, a really great card in testing, surprisingly. Search your library for a basic land card, obviously a forest, and putting it onto the battlefield tap, so you can once again turn 1 this, turn 2 this, turn 3 natural connection. You're 1 land ahead of your opponent right now, and you're actually makes you two green mana ahead of your opponent, which is great. And coming in, we're gonna actually go to removal. Our only removal is actually Prey Upon, which is actually even though sorcery speed fight is really good because our creatures pretty much have over 4 toughness, or our big creatures have over 4 toughness, which can pretty much kill a lot of things in the format sometimes right now. And there's also this. You can prey upon using this and kill small things, which is useful sometimes when you're up against Fraven Spectre, if they buff it somehow. There's also Toolcraft Exemplar, really basic. And now I'm gonna come in with the creatures that we're gonna try to get to it as quick as possible. We've got 4 copies of Bristling Hydra. I was at 2 at the point, but I realized we just needed more copies of this because it's so good in the early game. We can get this out as early as turn 3. This is the earliest we can get this out because of the Druid, of course. And Armorback Stomper, 2 copies. We can also get this out as quick as turn 3 turn 3s, actually turn 4 sometimes, mostly turn 4 we can get this out. That 5 life, once again, that gaining life is really important if you're playing against the aggro deck. That 5 life is really important. And here comes Aetherwind Basker, which is a really good for 7 mana. You're getting a 7/7 with trample. I'm not. I'm gonna. We can get this out as quick as sometimes turn 4, not a lot, but sometimes turn 4, and all the time turn 5. We can get this out. And you'll be surprised how good this second ability is. Whenever it enters or attacks, you get an energy for each creature you control, which we're gonna have a lot of ramp cards such as Druid and Beast Caller there, so that we can gain a bunch of energy really easily. This is a great attacker. I've actually came against this guy playing a the Gisela Meld, and he actually got the meld thing to work, and I actually swang at him with this, and I just had so much energy that I turned this into a 30/30, and I swung at it. He had to block with the meld card, which was great. Because his meld card died, I actually, from that point on, came back and won that game. Which, surprisingly, this is really good. The fact that it's fire breathing with energy, and once again we can get energy pretty easily with this deck. Of course, we're getting a bunch of creatures every time you're attacking. It's for each creature you control, by the way. So you have to attack. We're normally going with, if you do have this on the field, you'll probably want to attack with your small 1/3 with this, of course, because it's a 1/3. That toughness is huge. You probably just want to swing with it just to get that energy, just getting that 4/4/4 energy easily. I'm gonna come back to this because I forgot to talk about this, but you can pay 8. Yeah, pay 8 for a 6/6. It's very hard to get to that, but you can. But you hardly ever use that ability. But that land into energy is just mostly used for, once again, Aetherwind Basker, which is just such a good card. Just in this deck, it's really easy to get out. It's just a great threat, great finisher. And you'll be surprised of this deck that we can get turn 3 Restoring Hydra, turn 4 Armorback Stomper into, and then turn 5 an Aetherwind Basker, and that's a huge swing. That's a huge swing. You can win on turn 7 sometimes. If you're lucky, you can win on turn 7 sometimes, but it's very rare because, of course, you're a ramp deck and you're ramping towards your big creatures. I've actually had a hand that I've had tune, and I've just easily, and I actually had 3 Aetherwind Baskers. So on turn 5, I got Aetherwind Basker out. Turn 6, another one. Turn 7, another one. That was just game. That was game right there, and he just couldn't come back from that. So now I'm gonna come into the sideboard here. The sideboard is pretty easy to say. Heroic Inventor, and it's actually a great card, especially against mass removal. What you're looking at is Fumigate. Control decks that are running white will probably be running Fumigate as their board wipe. Or there's that new card that I don't remember its name. I talked about it in my improvised deck, how awesome it actually was. Clipwings against Flyers. Flyers can be anything. It can be, for example, Gisela Meld right there. Of course, it's Sacrifice, which is great. There's Avacyn, which is still in the format right now. Avacyn that it can take out. It's just really great right now. 4 copies of Blossoming Defense against Control. We're obviously, Control is going to be hugely favored against us, but in the game 2, it's going to be a lot easier. We're going to be able to board in that 4 copies of Blossoming Defense, 2 more Armorback Stompers. I'll get to that soon, just for the threat reasons. And I'll also get to this soon. We're gonna board that in just for the threats. And it's just surprisingly how good Blossoming Defense is. It's just a really great card. Hexproof is huge. Counters pretty much a lot of removal in the format right now. And of course, there's Grasp of Darkness, which people are still playing. Murder, not really, not much people playing Murder, but Murder still just target. Stasis Snare, Blossoming Defense, just great against people. Opponents will probably trying their best to be removing this. Once again, would be trying to best to remove our Aethervac Baskers, but of course, if we can board in 4 copies of Blossoming Defense just to counter that. Now coming to Armorback Stomper, once again providing another threat. That's really important against more aggro. You can aggro maybe like they'll probably like turn 1 attack you for 1, turn 2 attack you for 3. You know what I'm talking about. Attack you, bring you down to like 13, 15, and then you play Armorback Stomper on turn 4, gain 5 life, and you've got a 5/4 right there. And you can block with it, you can attack with it. It's just really good, and it's just so good. Appetite for Unnatural, great again. Artifact decks, of course, huge right now. Gain 2 life, also just great. Enchantment, Stasis Snare, even Thopter's Arrest. Destroy target artifact is also great against Heart of Kurin, of course, is great in the format right now. And okay, coming to Decimator of Providence. This is here once again providing a threat. Emerging it is not very hard. You'll be surprised. If we really need to, we can probably sack an Armorback to emerge for this, and then give our team huge buff and make a huge swing. Also, it's a 7/7 with trample and haste on its own. It can swing on that turn as well. So it just provides you with another threat, a buffer for your whole team. Here is pretty much our fog, is what we want. If we're actually facing a really fast aggro deck, we really want this, because if they want to kill us on like, I don't know, turn 5 maybe, we can just stop all that damage, and hopefully from that point on we can come back. Of course, by casting our big creatures. And that's the sideboard for you guys. And now coming in like 24 lands, you're probably wondering, you're playing a ramp deck, why am I not running more lands? Because I'm running 4 copies of Tune. It's really easy to get lands. Once again, I said I've kept 1 land hands with this before. Once again, against aggro, our deck is actually, you'll be surprised how good our deck is actually faced against an aggro deck. Druid of a Crowd, like that 3 toughness is just so good. Makes such a good blocker. It's just such a good blocker. And Beast Caller, once it's 1/1. That's not really the best blocker, but it has haste. Which ones I'm just going through the main things of this deck. And now I'm gonna come in with our main playstyle. How we wanna get a perfect hand. A really good hand would be probably one forest, and a Tune, a Druid, probably 2 Druids, somewhere around that, and then an Aetherwind Baskar. Maybe if you can, a Prey Upon would be great. Natural Connection. That would be great. So what you want to do is you just want to turn 1, you want to forest a Tune, guarantee that land drop on turn 2, Druid, that's 3, turn 3, hopefully top decking a forest. You can once again turn 3 Blistering Hydra there if you have it. Blistering Hydra turn 3, turn 4 swing, hopefully land another Druid. That makes you allowed. You can Nissa's renewal if you want to. Nissa's renewal next turn. Aetherwind Baskar, and that's nearly game. You swing That's a lot of damage in a few turns. It, like, once again, if you're actually really lucky, if you could play Armor Back Stomper, that's so you swung for 4. Now you've got Armor Back Stomper. Next turn you're swinging for 9. That's already That's already 13. That's already 13 damage coming. That's done to him, and then and then you can pretty much win next turn if your opponent just doesn't do anything. So you'll be surprised how fast this deck is for a ramp deck. So I hope you enjoyed this ramp deck. Once again, this is for Ether Revolt Standard. It's probably going to be the last, maybe not last, but looking into the decks, what's coming in, because of course Armanket's coming out soon, and spoiler season's going to happen. I'm not sure if I have time, I'll try and get those spoilers out, but I'll probably do like a last second, what's really the best, or a pre-release guide there, something like that. And there'll be more deck techs coming out for Armanket. Hopefully we can get great after this. Well, hopefully actually I forgot to, hopefully we can get this to work, and I hope you enjoyed this. Once again, this is pretty budget. You can get this for $30 to $40 really easily. Sometimes under 20. If you can get lucky with cheap, you can probably get it for actually some $30 really easily. Sometimes 25, depending on what you have. Once again, it's just 24 forest, so you don't have to worry about the expensive lands right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. I'll be making more deck techs coming up, more probably getting ready for pre-release stuff, and probably the best commons and uncommons in the set coming up, Armoncat. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.